So I have done my Premier League predictions over on Aquila Football, and now it's time for other predictions. Most goals, most assists, player of the season, young player of the season, best signing, worst signing, breakout star, breakout academy star, manager of the season, most improved, and more. I'm going to go through my nominees for each category, as you can see, most goals nominees, and who I think is going to win all of the following categories. I'm really sorry if I've missed off someone so obvious on this nominees list. I literally did this PowerPoint in like 10 minutes of thinking, so I apologize if someone really obvious has been missed out the list. Let me know down below. Let me know your picks down below, and let's get into it. So, Haaland, Salah, Isak, Gyökeres, Wood, Watkins were the nominees. I could have more nominees, but I feel like they're the obvious ones. Like Bruno got 20 goals last season, but I assume Bruno will be on penalties. I think Gyökeres will be on penalties, not Saka. João Pedro looks good, but I still think Palmer will probably be Chelsea's top scorer. Wood could have Mateta in there. Could have Strand Larson in there, Visser in there, of course, after last season. Isak, whether he stays, whether he goes, I think could be up there. Yeah, I mean, I think more people could be on the list, but they are probably the most obvious nominees and options to pick. And I really think it's probably going to be between Salah, Haaland, and Isak. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with Isak, if he's going to stay, if he's going to go, but we know that he gets goals. I'm going with a safe bet, and I'm going with Haaland. And the main reason I'm going with Haaland over Salah is a winger, Haaland is a striker. You'd actually expect Haaland to score more because that is his one job. Also, the fact that Manchester City are better this year, and I think the fact with Liverpool, there's going to be potentially Isak, Ekitike, Gakpo, players sharing the load with Salah this year as they try and build a more balanced attack. Florian Wirtz chipping in, whereas obviously Man City have loads of great players and have improved, but I think Haaland is still the main man. So for top scorer, I'm going with Erling Haaland. Most assists, I've gone with Wirtz and Cherky because they got a lot of assists last season. Salah, because he was top assister last season. Saka probably would have been if he stayed fit. Alanga actually has a crazy amount of assists in the last 2 seasons. Palmer, I've gone with Mbeumo, who had the highest expected assists in the Premier League. Bruno Fernandes, and Mr. on 2 assists already, Mohamed Kudus as my options for the top assister in the Premier League. This one's a really difficult one to predict because sometimes like the player that makes the most chances this season, which is normally like a Bruno Fernandes or a Palmer, doesn't always end up with the most assists because of the teammates and all of that. I've gone with Mohamed Salah. I know that he's not known for being like a big playmaker, but he actually is a lot more creative than he gets credit for. People just say he gets goals and assists, but he creates a lot. He makes a lot happen. I think Ekitike, potentially Isak coming in, he's going to be putting some good balls in the box. Continuing on to player of the season nominees, and look, it's most likely going to go to an attacker, but we've put a few defenders and midfielders in there. Like realistically, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, or Liverpool are winning the league, and it's going to go to a player from one of those teams. Look, Villa could have a really good season. You know, Eze could go to Tottenham, have a really good season. Morgan Gibbs-White and Forest could have a really good season. I don't think they'd win it. I've just put it in the nominees to give them a bit of credit because I feel like they could be nominated for it, but I don't think they would win it. Ekitike, again, think could be nominated. Probably don't think he would win it, but you never know. He looks very good. Isak could potentially win it. Haaland could potentially win it. Salah could potentially win it. Wirtz potentially could win it. Caicedo, Palmer, Reinders, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Guimaraes, Saka, Saliba, Gabriel, Guardiola, Van Dijk, Gravenberch, Morgan Rogers, Morgan Gibbs-White, Eze, Cunha, Gyökeres. I tried to go with players that could potentially get nominated if they had a good season. Realistically, it's going to go to someone who finishes first or second, like being realistic. So I've gone with Salah. I don't want to like do anything for Isak because there is still a possibility he could stay at Newcastle. So I've gone with Salah. I think Reinders is still early and he's more defensive, so I think you've got to go with attacking-minded players. Wirtz, I'm not sure what we're going to see just yet. Bruno Fernandes could carry Man United again, but Man United aren't going to be near the title. Normally goes to attacking-minded players, so I'm giving it to Salah. I think if Arsenal win the league, it could be a Saka. If Chelsea win the league, it could be a Palmer. If City could win the league, it could be a Haaland or a Reinders. So under 23's Premier League player of the season. So this is players aged 23 currently or under. So Gravenberch, really key, was important last year. Cole Palmer, 2 of the more known ones. But Lewis Hall could be phenomenal this season and get in the England lineup potentially. He looked really good before his injury. Yoro, He's mint. He was Man United's second best player after Bruno last year. Ekitike, again, Wirtz, Rodgers, Garnacho, Wanyeri, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Oscar Bob, big breakthrough for him. Cherky, Minter's looking mint. And Amad Diallo. Now, Garnacho, I think, is going to go to Chelsea, and I think Garnacho could do really well at Chelsea, which is why he's in there. I should have added Esteval. Bear with me. Got to add Esteval in there. So, yeah, they're my options. I think going with a Gravenberch or Palmer is particularly boring. Even like a Morgan Rogers, I feel like it's particularly boring. I want to go with someone that's a little bit younger. So I've gone with Lenny Yoro. It's my only Man United pick, but honestly, this guy is so good. And people will go, oh, you're biased, you're biased. No, he's so good. He's so good. And look, it could easily go to Wirtz or Ekitike, probably, but if Isak comes in, Ekitike's minutes could be impacted. Wirtz is very new. Gravenberch and Palmer's boring. Garnacho still hasn't got his move. Oscar Bob potentially. Esteval potentially. But I'm going to go with Euro. I think it will probably, right now, if Liverpool don't sign Isak, I think it's going to Ekitike. I think Ekitike is going to have an unreal season. I think it could go to Wirtz. Right now, I think it's going to be Ekitike, Palmer, or Gravenberch. But I'm going with Euro. Breakout Star. So we've got two categories for Breakout Star. One is just kind of a player that's like started less than like 15 games. And another one is a player that I think stocks will go up. Now, Supermende is already quite established, but I guess like Sociedad to Arsenal, it's like that big step. We've got Cherky, Esteval, and Cherky's quite established. Esteval could be a breakout season for him. Lewis Hall, Njai, Tanaka of Leeds, Minter, Rutter, Dorgu, all of these options for Breakout Star. And I have gone with, oh, I forgot to add that there. Minter of Brighton. I don't want to make this all big six club players because I feel like that's boring. I think Minter is going to be a player that all the big clubs are going to be in for. I thought about Adam Wharton as well, who I actually forgot to add to the Breakout Star, but then I was like, his stocks are quite high. Like Adam Wharton, Belay, their stocks are quite high. And Jai of Everton, obviously, I almost went with Esteval. It was a toss-up between Esteval and Minter, but I've gone with Minter. Breakout Star. Rio Enyimoa, Trey Nayoni, Max Dowman, Oscar Bob. I've gone with Wanyeri because he didn't actually play a lot last season, and Josh Achampong. Now, I know Oscar Bob is a lot older, but he's not really had the minutes because of that leg break. And I was going to go with Oscar Bob, but then I realised that obviously Chelsea have a few issues in defence. And while I think Rio Enyimoa was probably the best out of all those players in pre-season, Max Dowman looked excited in pre-season. I don't know how many minutes Rio, Trey or Max Dowman is going to get. I think Oscar Bob and Wanyeri and Josh Achampong are probably the three most likely to get minutes. And he was balling out versus Crystal Palace. I think he's got a big role to play. So he is going to be my young breakout star. So, manager of the season. I've gone between Eddie Howe and Thomas Frank. Realistically, manager of the season is going to go to who wins the league. So that will be Slot, Pep, Arteta, or Maresca. One of those teams are going to win the league. That's boring. I don't know which one of those teams is going to win the league. I'm going to go with something a bit different. And these are two players that I think, managers. These are two managers that I think nobody expects them to do something crazy. But I think if they finish fifth and win a trophy this season, they become manager of the season. I think the top four is set. But I think Newcastle could finish fifth, win another trophy. Thomas Frank could finish fifth, win another trophy. Because I think whoever wins the league will win manager of the season. So I'm trying to think of who's the next best, who does the best. So I go with Eddie Howe and Thomas Frank. So, moving on to best signings. Ekitike, I think he's going to be phenomenal. Can't put rumours in like Eze yet, because Eze hasn't signed for Tottenham as of yet. Can't put rumours like Isak in yet. So, as of now, Ekitike, Wirtz, João Pedro, Supermende, Cherky, Reinders, Cunha and Bumo, Xhaka for Sunderland, Esteval for Chelsea, Anton Stach for Leeds, and Doi, of course, for Nottingham Forest, and Kudus for Tottenham. All options, but you know what I'm going with? It's Reinders. I feel like I have to go with him. He just looks mint. Like him, I mean, Ekitike was phenomenal, but so was Reinders. But this guy's experienced. I feel like with a lot of the other players, they might need a year to adapt to the Premier League, or a lot of these players are really young. If you're looking at someone that fits into their role like a glove and is experienced, I've gone with Reinders. Like Cunha and Mbeumo play for an unstable Man United side. Tottenham isn't the most stable, but Kudus looks great. But I just think it could be Reinders. He looks phenomenal. Worst signing nominees, and I don't like doing nominees for worst signing because I don't think this doesn't mean I think these signings are going to flop. But obviously, with Gyökeres and Sesko being a new striker signing, there's an element of risk. There's an element of risk when you sign a striker. It's the hardest position to sign because so many players that are good can go to certain clubs and not be good. So again, I think Gyökeres will be a success, and I think Sesko will be a success. But the striker position can depend on service and many things. Gittins, again, Garnacho coming in, raw, minuted limits. Grealish, it's very hit and miss. Matisse Tell, I think he's better on the left. I think it makes sense to sign him, but I feel like he's being misprofiled and, again, bringing people in. Tottenham, Eze. Madueke, again, I don't think it's going to be a bad signing, but a lot of Arsenal fans upset. They're set to miss out on Eze. They brought in Madueke. There's going to be pressure on Madueke to do something on that left-hand side. Broha, just don't get why Burnley spent 20 million on him. Callum Wilson, because he was atrocious last season and can't stay fit, and James Trafford again because there's rumours of City looking at Donnarumma. So yeah, I think that pretty much most of these signings on my screen will be a success, but I was just going with like the more risky signings in the sense of strikers is risky, Gittins and Tau, there could be questions over minutes. Madueke was just an unpopular one in general, which I think is wasn't worth the money, but I think Grealish is a risk, Bro is a risk, Callum Wilson, Trafford just in case City sign another keeper. I've gone with Callum Wilson purely with the fact that West Ham looked appalling versus Sunderland. They need someone to step up, and when he got opportunities for Newcastle last year, he was really poor. So I don't like that category because I don't like predicting people to flop, but yeah. Most improved, I've gone with Yoro, Dorgo, Liveramento, Jacob Ramsey, Kudus, Sarr, Neto, João Pedro, Doku, Matson, Paquetá, and Jai of Everton. I think he's the player that I've got stocks in. Calafiore due to fitness, Ruta and Minter of Brighton, Rodrigo Muniz of Fulham if he stays, Semenyo of course, Bournemouth looked really good in the opening game, and Lacroix of Crystal Palace. All players that I think could have big improved seasons. And I just realised I forgot to add my winner. And there can only be one winner. Mohamed Kudus. I was about to say Mateus Kudus there. Mohamed Kudus. 2 games under Thomas Frank. Looks really good so far. Was a good player, was misprofiled at West Ham. Thomas Frank is profiling correctly. I think he's going to, he was pretty poor last season. So he is in my most improved. Let me know your thoughts down below on these 10 predictions. Thank you for watching. Bye.